Daniel Brooks sat in the human delegation chair and watched the council chamber fill with representatives from 848 species. The massive room could hold thousands. And today, it was packed. The air filtration system worked hard to manage the different atmospheric requirements. Some species breathed methane. Others needed high humidity. Humans could adapt to almost anything, so their section had standard oxygen mix and comfortable temperature. Brooks had been Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Council for 12 years. Before him, 6 other ambassadors had held this position. 47 years total since humanity joined this grand alliance of civilized worlds. 47 years of contributions, compromises, and increasingly one-sided conversations. Linda Martinez sat to his left. She handled military coordination between human forces and Council defense fleets. Greg Palmer occupied the seat to his right, managing economic policy and trade agreements. Both of them looked tired. They had spent the last 3 months trying to convince the Council that the new trade regulation would destroy human colony economies. Nobody had listened. The Council chamber quieted as Speaker Vornak called the session to order. The Hexarian's 6 eyes blinked in sequence as he reviewed the agenda on his data screen. "We gather for final vote on Trade Regulation 4477B, Vornak announced. His translator made his clicking speech sound formal and distant. "This measure will standardize resource extraction fees across all Council space. Member species with colonies in mineral-rich systems will pay increased tariffs to support development in less fortunate regions." Brooks had read the regulation 40 times. On paper, it sounded fair. Rich colonies help poor ones. Equality and cooperation. The reality was different. Human colonies existed in harsh systems because humans could survive almost anywhere. Earth was a death world by galactic standards. High gravity, violent weather, aggressive microbial life, and predators that could kill most Council species with ease. Humans had learned to thrive in difficulty. Their colonies flourished on worlds other species considered too dangerous or too expensive to develop. Now, the Council wanted to tax that success to subsidize colonies on easier, safer, already developed worlds. "The human delegation wishes to speak," Brooks said, activating his communication channel. Vornak's eyes showed annoyance. "Ambassador Brooks, we have discussed this matter extensively. Do you have new information?" "No, Speaker. I want to ensure the Council understands the impact on human interests." "Proceed, briefly." Brooks stood. Around the chamber, hundreds of alien eyes turned toward him with varying levels of interest. Most looked bored. "This regulation treats all colonies as equal," Brooks said. "They are not. Human colonies exist on high-gravity worlds, radiation-exposed moons, and planets with extreme weather. We develop these places because we can, not because they are easy. The proposed tariffs will take 60% of colonial revenue. That makes these colonies economically impossible. 23 human settlements will have to be abandoned. 4 million people will need relocation. Other species face similar adjustments," Vornak replied. "Hardship is shared equally. Other species are taxed on profits from established, safe colonies. Humans are taxed on survival in places nobody else wanted." A Delphani representative activated her speaker. "Perhaps humans should have chosen easier worlds to colonize." Scattered clicking and buzzing filled the chamber. Alien laughter, Brooks had learned to recognize. He had heard it often over the years. Greg Palmer leaned close. "They don't care," he whispered. Brooks nodded. He had known they would not care. This speech was for the record, nothing more. "Earth requests the Council reconsider," Brooks said. "We have provided detailed economic analysis. We have offered alternative proposals. We ask for recognition that different circumstances require different approaches." "Your objection is noted," Vornak said. "Are there other speakers?" Silence. "Then we vote. Standard protocol. All in favor of Trade Regulation 4477B, indicate now." The voting board lit up like stars appearing at dusk. Green lights spread across the display. 847 species voted yes. One red light marked humanity's no vote. "The measure passes," Vornak declared. Implementation begins in 90 days. This session is concluded. Brooks gathered his data tablets. Around him, council representatives began filing out, already discussing the next agenda item, the next regulation, the next decision that would affect billions of lives. Linda Martinez watched them leave. That's it? 47 years of partnership, and they just voted to cripple our colonies without a second thought? They gave it a first thought, Greg Palmer said. That's something. Brooks activated his secure communication link to Earth. The message was simple and pre-written. He had hoped he would not need to send it. Hope was a dangerous thing in politics. The reply came back within an hour. Earth's government had made its decision. The next council session convened 3 days later for routine administrative matters. Brooks waited until the end. During the open forum period where delegations could make announcements. The human delegation requests recognition, he said. Vornak looked surprised. Humans rarely spoke during administrative sessions. Proceed, Ambassador Brooks. Brooks stood. The chamber was half empty. Most species sent junior representatives to these boring meetings. That was fine. The official record would capture everything. Earth thanks the Galactic Council for 47 years of partnership. Brooks began. His voice was calm and professional. We have valued our membership and the relationships we have built. However, recent developments have made clear that human interests and council priorities are no longer aligned. Therefore, in accordance with Article 47 of the Council Charter, humanity hereby formally notifies the Council of our intention to withdraw from membership. Now he had their attention. The scattered conversations stopped. Even the junior representatives looked up from their data screens. Withdrawal will be complete in 30 standard days. Brooks continued. All treaty obligations will be honored during the transition period. All fees are paid through the end of the current cycle. All council property currently in human possession will be returned in good condition. We will maintain diplomatic relations and honor all existing non-aggression pacts. However, humanity will no longer participate in council votes, council military operations, or council economic programs. Vornak's 6 eyes blinked rapidly. Ambassador Brooks, this seems like a rash response to one unfavorable vote. Perhaps Earth needs time to reconsider. Earth has considered carefully, Brooks said. This decision is final. But the Krell Dominion has increased border raids, a military coordinator said. Human patrol ships cover 3 sectors of the defense perimeter. Who will replace them? That is a council matter, Brooks replied. Humanity will naturally continue to defend human territory and interests. Council space is the council's responsibility. He sat down. The chamber erupted in confused chatter. Several species tried to speak at once. Vornak called for order, but the noise continued. Linda Martinez allowed herself a small smile. They thought we were bluffing. They think we will come back when we calm down, Greg Palmer added. Brooks pulled up his schedule on his data tablet. 30 days of work ahead. Recall orders for every human liaison officer, every military coordinator, every technical advisor, every medical specialist serving in council space. Thousands of people to contact, hundreds of agreements to terminate properly. Let's start the paperwork, he said. Around them, the council chamber slowly quieted as species began to realize the humans were serious. But even then, even as Brooks filed the formal withdrawal documents and began the long process of disengagement, most council members did not truly understand what was happening. They would learn soon enough. Admiral Karen Hughes stood on the bridge of the defense ship Vigilant and watched the tactical display. 3 human vessels patrolled Sector 7, the border region between council space and the Krell Dominion. They had maintained this patrol route for 19 years. Not anymore. All ships, begin withdrawal sequence, Hughes ordered. Plot course for human territory. Standard formation. C. Her tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander Paul Henderson, confirmed the order. Course plotted, Admiral. Estimated arrival at Terra Station in 48 hours. Execute. The 3 ships turned away from the border and accelerated toward home. Behind them, A gap opened in the Council's defense perimeter. Sector 7 had no coverage now. Hughes knew the Council Defense Coordinator would notice eventually. Probably in a few days, when the weekly status report showed human ships absent from their assigned positions. By then, 12 other human patrol groups would have done the same thing. 37 human vessels, all withdrawing simultaneously from Council space. The Vigilant had protected this sector from Krell raiders for almost 2 decades. Hughes had lost crew members here. Good people who died defending Council worlds from attack. She wondered if anyone would remember their sacrifice. Probably not. On the agricultural world of Plenty Doctor, Victor Chen finished his consultation with the Meridian Farming Collective. The alien farmers had called him because their crop yields had dropped by 30%. Chen had spent 2 weeks analyzing soil samples, checking irrigation systems, and reviewing growing techniques. The problem is nitrogen depletion, Chen explained through his translator. Your soil bacteria cannot fix atmospheric nitrogen efficiently in this climate. You need to rotate crops every 3 seasons. Plant these legume variants I have marked in your system. They will restore soil health. The collective leader, a being that looked like a walking fern, expressed gratitude through a series of musical tones. Will you return next season to check our progress? No, Chen said. My contract with the Agricultural Development Program ends in 2 days. I will not be renewing it. But who will help us if problems arise? The Council has many agricultural specialists. I am sure they will assign someone. Chen packed his equipment and took the shuttle to orbit. His ship waited there, along with 40 other human agricultural advisors who had served throughout Council space. They had trained local specialists, improved farming techniques, and helped feed billions. Now, they were going home. The collective leader submitted a request for a replacement specialist. The request went into a queue with 300 similar requests from worlds where human experts were departing. Lisa Grant sat in her laboratory on Research Station Kepler and deleted files. Not classified information or anything dramatic, just her personal notes, her experimental data, her breakthrough research on fusion reactor efficiency improvements. The station coordinator, a Vinthex named Paktal, entered without knocking. Dr. Grant, the Council Science Directorate is requesting your latest reactor designs. They say it is urgent. The designs are not complete, Grant said. She continued deleting files. When will they be complete? Several Council worlds need new power systems. They will not be complete. I am leaving in 6 hours. Paktal's vocal sac inflated with surprise. Leaving? You have 2 years remaining on your research contract. Had 2 years remaining. The contract was with the Galactic Council. Humanity has withdrawn from the Council. Therefore, the contract is void. I have submitted all legally required documentation. My work here is done. But the reactor project needs you. No one else understands the cascade harmonics. Grant closed her computer and began packing her personal items. Then, you should have thought of that before voting to damage human colonies. Goodbye, Paktal. It has been educational working with you. She left the station on a transport ship with 90 other human scientists and researchers. Behind them, 300 research projects ground to a halt. Projects that depended on human expertise, human creativity, human willingness to work impossible hours, solving problems nobody else wanted to tackle. The Science Directorate sent urgent requests for the humans to reconsider. The requests bounced back with automated responses. The contracts were void. The humans were gone. Daniel Brooks spent his final weeks on Council Station Prime organizing the withdrawal. Every day brought new tasks: return embassy equipment, transfer building leases, pay final utility bills, close bank accounts, forward mail to Earth addresses. It was boring work, but Brooks insisted it be done properly. Humanity would leave no debts, no obligations, no complaints about unprofessional behavior. They would simply leave. Linda Martinez coordinated the military withdrawal. Human ships pulled back from joint patrol routes. Human officers resigned from Council defense commands. Human logistics specialists stopped processing supply requests. The defense coordinator wants a meeting, Martinez told Brooks. He says the border situation is becoming critical. Tell him I am busy with administrative duties, Brooks replied. He can send his concerns through official diplomatic channels. He says the Krell are attacking more frequently, 3 raids this week. That is unfortunate. Perhaps the Council should assign more ships to border patrol. Martinez smiled. I will tell him exactly that. Greg Palmer closed the last human trade office in Council space. For 47 years, these offices had processed transactions worth trillions of credits. They had connected human manufacturers with alien markets, human resources with alien needs, human innovation with alien problems. The offices employed 600 human trade specialists. All of them had received recall orders. All of them were going home. A Peltharian business leader came to Palmer's office on the final day. Our shipping company depends on human logistics software. Who will maintain it after you leave? Our farmer's office. With Peltharian business leader came to Peltharian business leader came to Peltharian business leader came to Peltharian business leader. Who will maintain it after you leave? The software license transfers to you, Palmer said. All documentation is included. If you experience technical issues, you will need to hire your own programmers. But we don't have programmers who understand human code. That sounds like a business opportunity for someone. Good luck. Palmer walked out of the office and did not look back. On Medical Station Hope, Dr. Andrew Foster finished surgery on a cavalry patient. The procedure had taken 6 hours. The patient would survive. Foster cleaned up, filed his medical report, and went to his quarters to pack. The hospital administrator found him there. Dr. Foster, we have 17 surgeries scheduled for next week. Complex cases that require your expertise. Cancel them, Foster said. Or find another surgeon. There are no other surgeons with your training. These patients will die without treatment. Foster stopped packing and looked at the administrator. Then I suggest you contact the Galactic Medical Association and request emergency assistance. I am a civilian volunteer. Not a slave. My service contract was voluntary. I am withdrawing that voluntarily offered service. But the patients need you. Many people need many things. That does not obligate me to provide them. I have trained your staff for 5 years. I have shared my techniques. I have published detailed surgical procedures. If your organization chose not to develop local expertise, that is not my responsibility. Foster left the station the next morning. 40 other human doctors and surgeons left with him. Behind them, waiting lists for complex medical procedures grew longer. Patients who had depended on human medical skill would have to find other options, or die waiting. The final human shuttle departed Council Station Prime on day 29 of the withdrawal period. Daniel Brooks sat in a passenger seat and watched the station shrink in the viewport. He felt nothing. No sadness, no anger, no sense of loss, just tired relief. Linda Martinez sat across from him. Think they have figured it out yet? Some have, Brooks said. The smart ones, the ones who actually paid attention to what humans did instead of what they said. And the others? They will learn. The shuttle docked with the transport ship homeward. Brooks found his cabin, unpacked his single bag, and pulled up the news feeds from Council space. Krell Dominion attacks had increased by 300% in the last week. 4 Council worlds had sent distress calls. The Council defense fleet was scrambling to cover gaps in the perimeter. Trade routes that human merchant ships had protected were now suffering from pirate raids. And it had only been 1 month. Brooks turned off the news feed and went to sleep. Tomorrow, he would be home on Earth. His replacement had already been selected. Not a Council ambassador this time. Just a low-level diplomatic officer to maintain basic relations and process paperwork. Humanity had said everything it needed to say. Now the Council would learn what silence meant. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened at midnight, Council Standard Time. Speaker Vornak looked haggard. His 6 eyes were dull with exhaustion. He had not slept in 30 hours. 7 worlds under attack, he announced without preamble. The Krell Dominion launched coordinated strikes across the entire border region. Defense Command reports, Our forces are unable to respond effectively. Defense Coordinator Plix stood at the tactical display. The Quellen's tentacles moved nervously as he highlighted the affected sectors. We have a critical problem. Our patrol coverage has gaps. Large gaps. The Krell are exploiting them. Deploy reserve forces, a Meridian representative said. We have no reserve forces, Plix replied. Every available ship is already deployed. We are stretched beyond capacity. How is this possible? We have the largest fleet in the galaxy. Plix manipulated the display. Red zones appeared across the border region. These are sectors previously covered by human patrol ships. 37 vessels. We assumed we could redistribute our own forces to maintain coverage. We were wrong. Our ships are not designed for long-duration patrol duty. They require frequent resupply and crew rotation. Human ships could stay on station for months at a time. Then build more ships, someone suggested. That takes years. The Krell are attacking now. Vornak called for order as the chamber erupted in arguments. What about the early warning system? We should have detected these Krell forces before they reached our borders. Plix's tentacles drooped. The early warning system is malfunctioning. Sensor stations in 12 sectors have gone offline in the past month. All at once? No. One by one. The technical staff says the equipment is failing, and they cannot repair it. A junior technician was called to explain. The nervous Vinthex stood before the council and activated a data screen. The sensor network relies on quantum entanglement arrays. Very complex technology. They require constant maintenance and calibration. Human technicians handled this work. We have our own technicians, Vornak said. Yes, Speaker. But they were trained for simpler systems. The quantum arrays were installed by humans, maintained by humans. When they withdrew, they took the technical knowledge with them. Our people are learning, but it takes time. Meanwhile, the arrays are degrading. We estimate complete system failure in 6 months if we cannot find qualified personnel. Vornak felt cold despite the chamber's regulated temperature. How many critical systems depend on human expertise? RD. The technician consulted his data. We are still assessing. So far, we have identified 47 major infrastructure systems with this dependency. The number keeps growing. The council session continued for hours. Every report brought worse news. Trade routes were collapsing. Merchant ships refused to travel without escort. Human merchant vessels had provided informal protection for decades. Simply by being present. They were large, well-armed, and operated by crews from a death world. Pirates avoided them. Now the pirates had no reason for caution. 16 merchant vessels had been attacked in the last month. 4 were destroyed. Medical emergencies were mounting. A plague had broken out on the industrial world of Nexus 7. The local health authorities requested assistance from the Galactic Medical Corps. The request went unanswered for 3 days before someone checked why. The Medical Corps has a 6-month waiting list. The health coordinator reported. They are overwhelmed. Normally, human medical teams handled emergency cases. They had the training and equipment for rapid response. Without them, the Corps cannot keep up with demand. How many people have died on Nexus 7? Vornak asked. 4,000 so far. The plague is spreading. They need help now. Not in 6 months. Someone suggested contacting Earth directly. Request emergency medical assistance. This is a humanitarian crisis. Surely humans will help. The Council sent an official request through diplomatic channels. The response came back within hours. It was brief and formal. The Terran Medical Service appreciates the Council's request for assistance. However, TMS operations are currently limited to human space and allied territories. We suggest you contact the Galactic Medical Corps for support. We wish you success in managing this difficult situation. Allied territories, a representative repeated. We were allies for 47 years. We were never allies, Vornak said quietly. We were colleagues, associates, partners in an administrative arrangement. We never treated them as allies. 3 months after human withdrawal, The Council's economy had contracted by 20%. The Economic Analysis Committee presented their findings to an increasingly desperate assembly. Human colonies purchased enormous quantities of manufactured goods, the chief economist explained. Spacecraft, medical equipment, scientific instruments, luxury items. They were among our best customers. They also supplied rare minerals from high-gravity worlds that no one else could safely mine. With human trade gone, we have shortages in 17 critical resource categories. Can we find alternative suppliers? We are trying. But most of the difficult mining operations were done by humans. Other species lack the physical ability or the economic incentive to work in such dangerous conditions. Infrastructure began failing in unexpected ways. A major space station lost gravity control. The repair team discovered that the gravity generator had been modified by human engineers 15 years ago. The modifications were undocumented. No one knew how to fix it. 3,000 station residents evacuated before life support failed. A planetary shield system protecting the world of Haven collapsed during a solar storm. Investigation revealed that human technicians had been performing maintenance on the system for 20 years. They had identified design flaws and implemented workarounds. When they left, they took that knowledge with them. The official design specifications did not include the workarounds. The repair team followed the official specs, and the system failed. 200,000 people died in the storm. The Council sent another message to Earth. This time it was not a request. It was a demand. Humanity has a moral obligation to assist Council species in this time of crisis. Your withdrawal has caused significant harm. We demand you honor your responsibilities and provide immediate technical and humanitarian aid. Earth's response was written by a low-level diplomatic clerk. Daniel Brooks had retired. The new human diplomatic mission consisted of 3 people in a small office. Earth honors all treaty obligations as written. We maintain our commitments to non-aggression, diplomatic recognition, and trade in accordance with existing agreements. We have no obligations beyond these treaties. The Council's current difficulties are not Earth's responsibility. We wish you well in resolving them. Vornak read the response 3 times. It was polite, professional, and completely inflexible. They are not coming back, he said. Defense Coordinator Plix updated the tactical display. 2 more worlds had fallen to Krell attacks. The Council's territory had shrunk by 8% in 3 months. We need to pull back, Plix said. Consolidate our forces, defend what we can, and abandon the rest. Abandon Council worlds? We do not have the ships to protect everything. The Krell know this. They are pressing the attack. We lose ships every day. Soon we will not have a fleet at all. A Peltharian representative stood. This is madness. We are the Galactic Council. We have resources, technology, billions of citizens. How can we be losing to the Krell? Because we depended on someone else to do the hard work, Vornak said. We let humans patrol our borders while we focused on comfortable, profitable activities. We let humans maintain our critical systems while we congratulated ourselves on our advanced civilization. We let humans solve our difficult problems while we voted on regulations and collected tariffs. They should have told us how dependent we were. They did tell us. We did not listen. The Council chamber fell silent. Outside, another world called for help that would not arrive in time. The greatest alliance in galactic history was unraveling, and the humans, the young species everyone had dismissed as junior members, were nowhere to be found. They were home, taking care of their own people, completely unconcerned with Council affairs, just as they had said they would be. 6 months after humanity withdrew from the Galactic Council, Speaker Vornak reviewed casualty reports and wanted to scream. 12 worlds had fallen to the Krell Dominion, not just defeated, conquered, occupied. Billions of people now lived under Krell military rule. The Council's economy had contracted by 40%. Trade had collapsed. Manufacturing centers sat idle because they could not get raw materials. Agricultural worlds could not sell their produce because shipping was too expensive and too dangerous. Unemployment had reached levels not seen in 300 years, and the refugees kept coming. Ships full of displaced people arrived at council stations every day. Families who had fled the Krell advance. Workers who had lost their jobs. Colonists from abandoned settlements. The council's social services could not handle the numbers. Refugee camps sprawled across a dozen worlds. Disease spread in the crowded conditions. Food was rationed. Tensions ran high. Vornak called an emergency session. The council chamber was no longer packed. Many species had stopped sending representatives. They were too busy dealing with problems at home. We must address the situation with Earth, Vornak began. Immediate resistance. A Delphani representative stood. We will not beg the humans to return. They abandoned us in our time of need. This shows their true character. They did not abandon us, Vornak said. We dismissed them. We ignored their concerns. We voted against their interests. They left because we made it clear they were not valued. Semantics. The point is they are gone when we need them most. Vornak's eyes narrowed. Do you know what humans are doing now? He activated the central display. Intelligence reports appeared. Images of human space showed thriving colonies. Busy trade routes. Peaceful borders. This is the human colony on Newton's world, Vornak said. High gravity. Toxic atmosphere. Extreme temperature variations. Humans live there comfortably. They have expanded their settlement by 30% in the last 6 months. Their economy is growing. More images. This is a human agricultural station. They have developed new crop strains that triple yield in harsh conditions. This is a human medical research facility. They are working on cures for diseases we have never heard of. This is a human university. Enrollment is at record levels. The display showed human space in detail. Clean cities. Efficient infrastructure. Military forces that were small but extremely capable. Most striking was what the images did not show. No refugee camps. No unemployment. No panic. They are fine, Vornak said. Better than fine. They are thriving. While we collapse, they build. While we fracture, they strengthen. They do not need us. They never did. Then why did they join the council in the first place? I think they hoped for genuine partnership. Exchange of ideas. Mutual cooperation. Instead, we used them. We took their contributions for granted. We assumed they would always be there to fill the gaps in our society. A military coordinator interrupted. Speaker, we have a more immediate problem. The Krell have launched a new offensive. They are pushing toward the core systems. If we do not stop them, they will reach the founding worlds within a year. Silence fell. The founding worlds were the heart of the council. If they fell, the council ended. We need human military support, the coordinator continued. Their ships, their tactics, their troops. We cannot win without them. They will not come, Vornak said. We must make them understand the stakes. They understand perfectly. They simply do not care about our stakes anymore. The debate continued for hours. Pride fought against desperation. Some argued that asking Earth for help would be humiliating. Others said survival mattered more than dignity. A few suggested trying to force humanity back through economic pressure or diplomatic isolation. That idea died quickly. Earth traded with independent systems and regional alliances that had never joined the Council. They had plenty of partners. The Council had no leverage. Finally, they agreed to send a formal delegation to Earth, not to negotiate humanity's return to the Council. That ship had sailed, just to request military assistance during the crisis. Temporary help. An alliance of convenience. The delegation consisted of 5 council members from prominent species. They traveled to Earth on a diplomatic vessel. The journey took 2 weeks. During that time, another council world fell to the Krell. Earth received the delegation politely. They were housed in comfortable quarters, given access to excellent food and entertainment, treated with respect and courtesy. But when they requested a meeting with Earth's government, they were directed to a deputy assistant in the Foreign Affairs Office. Not the president, not the Secretary of State, not even a senior ambassador, a deputy assistant. The message was clear. This meeting was not important to Earth. The deputy assistant was a woman named Patricia Gordon. She looked young, perhaps 30. She greeted the delegation in a small conference room with basic furnishings. "Welcome to Earth," Gordon said. "How can we help you?" The delegation leader, a distinguished Hexarian named Zoralth, presented their request. Military assistance, technical support, medical aid, a temporary alliance to repel the Krell threat. Gordon listened politely. She took notes. When Zoralth finished, she smiled. "I appreciate you bringing these concerns to our attention. Unfortunately, Earth's military forces are committed to defending human territory and allied systems. We do not have resources available for operations in Council space. This is an existential threat," Zoralth said. "If the Council falls, the Krell will eventually threaten human space. Perhaps. We will deal with that possibility, if it occurs. Current projections suggest the Krell have no immediate interest in human territory. Our worlds are too difficult to occupy. Not worth the effort. You would let billions die because helping is inconvenient?" Gordon's smile faded. The Council let millions of humans face economic devastation because helping was inconvenient. You voted 847 to 1 against our interests. You dismissed our warnings about defense vulnerabilities. You ignored our advice about infrastructure dependencies. For 47 years, humans provided support, expertise, and protection. You accepted these gifts as your due, and gave nothing in return except condescension. We made mistakes. We acknowledge that. Acknowledging mistakes is easy. Living with consequences is hard. The Council is learning this now. Zoralth tried a different approach. "What would it take for Earth to provide assistance? What do you want in return?" "We want nothing," Gordon said. "That is the point. Earth is self-sufficient. We do not need Council markets. We do not need Council technology. We do not need Council approval. We are content with our own affairs. There must be something we can offer." Gordon stood. The meeting was over. "There is one thing. An apology. A real one. Not diplomatic language. Not face-saving words. A genuine acknowledgement from the Council that humanity was treated poorly. That our contributions were undervalued. That our concerns were dismissed. That we deserved better. You want us to humiliate ourselves? I want honesty, but I do not expect it. Pride is more important to the Council than survival. You proved that when you voted to damage human colonies, rather than admit your regulation was flawed. The delegation returned to Council space empty-handed. They reported the conversation to Vornak. "She wants an apology," Zoralth said. "Public humiliation. She wants acknowledgement of reality," Vornak corrected. "There is a difference." Before the Council could decide whether to swallow its pride, news arrived that changed everything. The Krell Dominion had attacked Hexaria Prime, the homeworld of the Hexarians, one of the 4 founding species of the Galactic Council. The planet's defense fleet fought bravely. They were overwhelmed in 6 hours. Hexaria Prime fell. The Council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives screamed at each other. Some called for immediate surrender. Others demanded a final, desperate counterattack. Several species announced they were withdrawing from the Council to form their own defensive alliances. Vornak watched his civilization tear itself apart. 47 years ago, a young species from a death world had asked to join the Council. They offered friendship, cooperation, and partnership. The Council had accepted their contributions but never their equality. Now that species was gone, and the Council was paying the price for its arrogance. Vornak wondered if Patricia Gordon was right. Was pride really more important than survival? He looked around the chamber at the chaos and knew the answer. For the Council, yes, pride mattered more than anything, and that pride would be the end of them. 2 years after humanity withdrew from the Galactic Council, Daniel Brooks stood in front of a classroom at the University of New Chicago and taught history. His students were young, most around 20 years old. They had been children when humanity left the Council. They barely remembered the old days. "Can anyone tell me why the Galactic Council collapsed?" Brooks asked. A student raised her hand. Because they depended on us too much and did not realize it until we left. Partly correct. But that is the simple answer. The deeper truth is more complex. Brooks pulled up historical records on the classroom display. Council session transcripts. Vote tallies. Economic reports. Military assessments. 47 years of documentation. The council collapsed because systems built on unequal partnerships eventually fail. We provided critical services. They accepted those services as entitlements. When we asked for fair treatment in return, they refused. So we left. The collapse that followed was not caused by our departure. It was caused by their refusal to adapt when we were there. Another student spoke up. But we could have helped them after we left. People died. Whole worlds fell. We had the power to stop it. Brooks nodded. Yes, we did. That is the hard part of this history. We could have saved them. We chose not to. Do you think that was wrong? The class debated for 20 minutes. Some argued humanity had a moral duty to help. Others said the council had made its choice and deserved the consequences. Brooks let them argue. This was the important lesson. Not the facts, but the ethics. A knock on the classroom door interrupted the discussion. Brooks's teaching assistant entered. Professor Brooks, you have a visitor. Says it is important. Brooks excused himself. In the hallway, a young alien waited. The being was Quellen, tentacles moving in patterns that suggested nervousness. It wore simple travel clothes, not diplomatic robes. Ambassador Brooks? The alien asked. Former ambassador. I teach history now. Call me Daniel. My name is Plex. I am a junior representative with what remains of the Galactic Council. I requested this meeting through official channels. I hoped you might speak with me. Brooks checked the time. I have 30 minutes before my next class. There is a cafe nearby. We can talk there. They walked across campus. Students passed them without much interest. Aliens were common on Earth now. Refugees, traders, students. Earth had become a hub for those fleeing the chaos in former council space. The cafe was quiet. Brooks ordered coffee. Plex requested a simple nutrient solution. They sat by a window overlooking the gardens. Why are you here? Brooks asked. To understand what happened, Plex said. I was too young to vote on the trade regulation that triggered your withdrawal. I am trying to piece together the history. Official records are incomplete. Many files were lost when the central archives fell to the Krell. I hoped you could help me understand the human perspective. Brooks sipped his coffee. What do you want to know? Why did you not warn us? Why did you not explain how dependent we were on human support? Brooks pulled out his tablet. He had kept copies of everything. Personal backups that survived when official records did not. He showed Plex a file dated 16 years before humanity withdrew. This is a report I filed with the Council Security Committee. It outlined gaps in the defense perimeter. It explained that human patrol ships were covering sectors assigned to other species. It warned that removing human ships would create vulnerabilities. The committee voted to table the report for future consideration. Another file. This is a presentation I gave to the Infrastructure Committee 12 years ago. It detailed critical systems that depended on human maintenance. It recommended training programs for council technicians. The committee thanked me for my input and took no action. More files, reports, presentations, warnings, recommendations, years of documentation. We warned you constantly, Brooks said. Nobody listened. Or they listened and decided it was not important. Either way, the result was the same. But you could have been more forceful. You could have refused to provide services until we paid attention. We tried that once, 7 years before we withdrew. We announced that human medical teams would reduce their caseload to focus on training local personnel. The council passed a resolution condemning us for abandoning our humanitarian obligations. We backed down. Lesson learned. Forcing the council to acknowledge problems only made them angry. Plex's tentacles drooped. So you just gave up? We accepted reality. The council did not want partners. It wanted servants who would work quietly and not cause trouble. We could either accept that role or leave. We chose to leave. And now? Brooks finished his coffee. Now we are fine. Better than fine. Earth's economy is strong. Our colonies are expanding. Our technology advances without needing council approval. We have trade agreements with independent systems. We have defensive alliances with species that treat us as equals. We are content. The council is dying, Plex said quietly. Half the member species have withdrawn to form regional alliances. The Krell control a third of former council space. The old institutions are gone. Everything is falling apart. I know. We monitor the situation. And you feel nothing? No sympathy? No desire to help? Brooks considered the question carefully. I feel sympathy for the individuals who are suffering. War is terrible. Refugees deserve compassion. But I do not feel responsible for the Council's fate. You made choices. Those choices had consequences. The consequences were predictable. We predicted them. You ignored the predictions. What do you want from us now? What would it take for humanity to help? Nothing. Nothing? We want nothing from the Council. That is the truth you came here to learn. We are not angry. We are not bitter. We are not waiting for the perfect moment to return and save you. We are simply not interested. We tried partnership. It did not work. We moved on. Plex was silent for a long moment. That is worse than anger. Anger means you still care. Indifference means we do not matter to you at all anymore. Yes, Brooks said. That is accurate. He walked Plex back to the campus entrance. The young alien prepared to leave. One more question, Plex said. Do you think the Council can survive? Honestly, no. The old Council is gone. Something new might emerge from the fragments. Regional alliances, smaller confederations, bilateral agreements. But the dream of a grand galactic union is over. You cannot build a civilization on the assumption that someone else will do the hard work. Plex left. Brooks returned to his classroom. His students were still debating ethics and responsibility. That evening, Brooks walked home through the quiet streets. Earth had changed in the last 2 years. More confident, more self-reliant. The constant pressure to prove themselves worthy of council membership was gone. Humans had stopped trying to meet impossible standards set by others. His daughter, Sophie, was waiting at home. She was 10 years old. Smart, curious, and already interested in space. Dad, I saw the news. Another council world asked Earth for help. We said no again. Why do we keep saying no? Oh, Brooks sat down next to her. Because help that is not valued becomes dependency. And dependency breeds contempt. The Council used our help for decades but never respected us for providing it. They assumed we would always be there. When we left, they expected us to come back and save them. But people are dying. Shouldn't we help anyway? That is a good question. The kind that does not have an easy answer. Here is what I think. We can help people who respect us. We can partner with those who treat us as equals. But we cannot save those who refuse to save themselves. The Council had 47 years to prepare for the possibility that we might leave. They spent those years assuming we never would. That was their choice. It seems sad. It is sad. Many things in life are sad. But sad does not mean wrong. We chose dignity over being needed. We chose self-respect over being useful. Those were hard choices, but they were right for us. Sophie thought about this. Okay, I think I understand. Brooks looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Galactic Council was dying. Worlds burned. Refugees fled. Old alliances crumbled. And Earth, the young species from the Death World, watched it happen with calm detachment. They had tried to build bridges. The Council had burned them. Now, humanity was building its own future. Without Council approval. Without Council oversight. Without Council anything. And that future looked bright. Brooks smiled. His students would inherit a world that knew its own worth. They would never bow to those who demanded service, but offered no respect. They would never sacrifice their dignity for the comfort of being needed. That was the lesson, the one the Galactic Council had taught humanity by accident. Sometimes the best partnership is no partnership at all. Sometimes walking away is the strongest choice you can make. And sometimes silence speaks louder than any words.